All right, there it is. 3 in a row. 3 wins in a row. Let's talk. Episode 678 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4. Yankees. Doing Yankees, Tigers. Let's do it. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking. Right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is it.
It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. All right. Welcome to the podcast, episode 678 of the show. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Talking New York Yankees, because they just defeated the Detroit Tigers in the Bronx in a 3-game sweep. It was the first sweep since the Houston series on opening weekend. And it was also the first time the Yankees have won 3 games in a row since the Miami Marlins series, which I believe was the third game of the season, a third series of the season. So it's been a bit, they've been up and down ever since starting 10-2. So I've kind of been waiting for this. All right, there we go. Like we are capable of stringing together some wins, because a lot of their 23-13 prior to this series was riding the early season hot streak. But I was afraid it was going to fall back into, I don't remember what year it was, 22 maybe, where the Yankees started off so hot in the first half, and then they were just 500 as hell the rest of the way. So it was good to see them win 3 in a row. Hopefully they can sustain this because they do have Houston up next. We'll talk more on that matchup later. But 3 in a row for the Yankees. Some stuff before we get into the series itself. John Birdie was reactivated this series. He actually played in today's game 3. Good to have him back because Lord knows that bench was getting super thin. They DFA'd Trammell. The guy's been here for a few weeks now, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I've went back and forth between Trammell and Trammell. Garrett Cole. This was the big update. Through a bullpen. He threw 15 fastballs. Not at max effort. He was around 89 miles an hour. And that's good news, right? Anytime, the dude had an arm injury in spring training. So the fact that he's using his arm and throwing again, that's good. He's aiming for mid-June. I think the more realistic possibility is probably mid-July, All-Star break. Because the Yankees believe in this team. They have gotten off to a good start, so that's helped them. Nick Birdie has began a rehab assignment, so he should be back within a week or so. And then DJ LeMahieu, it's, not looking wonderful there. Aaron Boone was asked about when his rehab will start. He said he doesn't think that he doesn't know that he's ready for rehab, which means, He said he hit some yesterday, but he doesn't think he's ready for rehab. And it's that whole thing has been. If you're listening, if you're following the Yankees' words with that, probably don't, and just know it's probably going to be worse than what they say. It's just this guy he's had trouble with that foot for a while. I think he's washed. He's older, slower. If he comes back, whenever he does, what can you possibly expect? My hope is that he does come back and they don't overuse him, because Oswaldo's been fine this year, and now that John Birdie's back, just use DJ as a guy who doesn't start more than twice a week. Keep him off his feet. I think he'll be more productive in a bench role, late game defensive replacement, pinch hits, and then an occasional start once or twice a week. That's what his role should be. Slide over to second, third, play some first when guys need a day like Rizzo today. That's what he should be doing. That was the initial role when they signed him, but he broke into a superstar for a couple of seasons. So that's that in terms of the injuries. Let's get to the series where the Yankees swept the Detroit Tigers, who had gotten off to a good start this year, an okay start, riding their pitching staff. And so we'll talk about it. In episode 678 here of the podcast, the Yanks sweep the Tigers in the Bronx 3 out of 3. It's good to get that. So let's do that as soon as we return from our first break here on the podcast. We'll be back in about 15-20 seconds.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Here we go. I'm your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening to episode 678 of BD4. Man, good to do what they did. And we'll start with game 1 of this series that took place on Saturday, or on Friday. This was a Friday night game. The Yankees won this 2-1. The righty Stroman going up against the righty Olsen. And Stroman had a good start. He was off kilter again, but he finished fine. Final line for him: 5 1/3, 1 run, 3 hits, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, no home runs, 90 pitches, and no decision. So he started well. He started well with the usual. He was attacking from a bit outside the zone and trying to force hitters to chase. And it was working for a while, but just getting into deep counts and walking a lot of batters. And, he got through everything fine until later in the game, right? 5 innings, he was looking good, but top of the 6th inning comes, the leadoff base hit to Green, and then he walks 3 consecutive batters with 1 out. He walks the middle of the order, all in a row. A run scores, and right there he's pulled for Ian Hamilton, who gets out of it. But, yeah, the last few starts now for Marcus Stroman, he's been a little bit off kilter. And it's all been a theme where later in the order, he starts to get hit around a little bit, tires out. It's that third time through the order. That's been a thing with a lot of these guys. But he's got a 946 OPS against a third time through. So something he's going to, the Yankees are going to have to be aware of that. But again, I like this, when the Yankees signed Stroman to that value deal, this is what I expected. I expected nothing extraordinary, and I expected a very high floor. And that's what I feel like Marcus Stroman has been doing for the Yankees so far. At worst, he's struggling, but being able to keep you in the game. I mean, the guy allowed, in one of his worst starts of the year, a run in 5 1/3. So, you took it. You got, Hamilton going an inning and third, no runs. Gonzalez, an inning and a third, no runs. He got the 7th and 8th. And then Santana got the 9th, 1 inning, no runs. So they all combined for 3 2/3 innings of no run ball. And then offensively in game 1, the Yankee bats, hey, voice crack. The Yankee bats were dead. 2 runs on 6 hits, an extra base hit, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts. They hit into 2 double plays, and they were 2 for 5 in scoring position. Against Olsen, they were shut out across 5, and then they got to the bullpen, 2 runs. Yeah, they were awful until they weren't. Like, innings 1 to 8, it was a shit show. It was abysmal. It was brutal. I was ranting on the internet. But the bottom of the 9th inning comes, and of course, Judge, who was struggling entering the series, it always finds you. And Judge has an opportunity bottom 9. And what do you know? Miller's in the game. Judge picks up that leadoff base hit. Verdugo comes to the plate, and he lays down a bunt. He reaches base. So now you got 2 on, and Giancarlo Stanton's at the plate, and he rips an RBI double the other way, and now the game is tied. It's 2-1, or it's 1-1. Rizzo follows Stanton, and he gets a ground ball right through the infield to the right of second base. It leaks through, run scores, walk-off base hit from Anthony Rizzo off of Foley. This was pitching change, and the Yankees win again 2-1. So finally coming alive. Judge, Verdugo, Rizzo, Stanton, big 9th inning there, stringing together base runners. Judge, Volpe, and Verdugo 1 for 3 with a walk. Rizzo 1 for 3, a walk at RBI. Glaber 1 for 3. Stanton 1 for 4, double RBI. Wells 0 for 2, walk. And then Soto and Oswaldo were 0 for. Oswaldo had 2 strikeouts. Soto was 0 for 4. And that was game 1, a 2-1 victory for the Yankees with Marcus Stroman starting. Game 2 of the series took place Saturday, and this was a 5-3 victory for the Yankees. You had the righty Schmidt going up against the righty Mize. And the Yankees did a nice job against Mize. They scored 5 runs in this game on 9 hits, 2 of them extra base hits, a walk, 8 strikeouts, and they were 3 for 9 in scoring position. They scored all 5 of their runs on Mize, who went 5 1/3. And then against the Detroit bullpen, they were shut out across 2 2/3. But they gave you offense. Finally gave you offense after a very quiet 4-game Baltimore series offensively. And then a game where they only scored 2 runs in 1 inning in the first game of the set. They finally gave you some offense. They produced the bare minimum of offense. I consider 5 runs the bare minimum of offense, but they got it done, right? Bottom of the first, Aaron Judge, 2-out base hit. Verdugo, 2-out base hit. Stanton comes to the plate, 2-out base hit. It's an RBI base hit for him. That ties the game. Bottom 3, Volpe with a leadoff walk, Soto with the base hit, and then Judge the RBI double to make it 2-1 Yankees. Rizzo comes to the plate, and he smacks a 2-out, 3-run home run, 411 feet, hit the upper deck, 5-1 Yankees. Bottom of the 7th comes, Aaron Judge is at the plate, gets a tough call, strike 3. He's walking away, kind of murmuring that was bullshit, I think he said. Or you've been bullshit all game, or something like that, directed towards the umpire. Gets ejected for it. Wasn't anything crazy. It was a very soft ejection by the home plate umpire. Anthony Rizzo had a good time about that. I mean, he was pissed off, yelling in the dugout. You could see what he was saying. That was the softest shit I've ever seen. And it really was. It was the first Yankee captain to ever be ejected, I think I read. Jeter was never ejected. I know that. I saw that. Yeah, You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Like the first thing that came to my mind when that happened wasn't the fact that the home plate umpire was being a snowflake or that it was a garbage call. The very first reaction for me was I loved seeing Judge get a little bit emotional. Like I loved seeing him show emotion and just show a bit of an edge. And I would love for him to have more of that because he was a little bit like, more animated than we usually see him. That's what I would love to see more from. I love when Judge shows something because he's a lot of the time I always feel like he's too smiley and too quiet. And I get it. You're going with the whole respectful thing. He's always been like that his whole career. He's been humble. But like it's good to see him show a little bit of an edge. I like that. So he gets ejected in the 7th and the Yankees win though. Judge goes 2 for 4. Doubles, RBI. Rizzo 2 for 4 in this game. Home run, 3 RBIs. Stanton 1 for 4, RBI. Soto, Verdugo, Glaber also 1 for 4. Trevino 1 for 3. Volpe 0 for 3 with a walk. And Oswaldo Cabrera 0 for 3. Clark Schmidt got the start in this game. Went 5 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits, no walks, 2 hit batters, 7 strikeouts, 1 home run, 91 pitches, and the win. Yeah, he had a couple of innings where he ran into some trouble. I mean, the top of the first inning was just a fluke. He leaves a cutter. It wasn't even a bad cutter, but Green gets a hold of it for a leadoff home run. But then he really got into trouble in the 4th inning, bottom 4. Detroit cuts the Yankee lead to 5-3. You got the leadoff base hit by Perez on a hanging sweeper. Then you get the Vierling RBI triple on a sinker that was kind of in the middle part of the plate. And then a cutter to Keith resulted in a sac fly to Juan Soto. And so there were your 2 runs right there. 5-3. Detroit cuts it to 2. And that was it for Schmidt. He ended up going just 5. He had some okay swing and miss stuff in this game. Again, 7 strikeouts. His 2 primary, he was going cutter, sweeper a lot. He got a lot of whiffs with the cut fastball. And then he was sinker, curve, secondary. Yeah, like it's the same usual thing. Like he's got good stuff. Everything Clark Schmidt throws moves. But it's not always resulting in strikeouts. I always feel like he should be more of a strikeout pitcher than he is. But they foul off a lot of pitches, and that's part of the reason he continues to really struggle to give the Yankees any kind of length. Like 5 innings is your average Clark Schmidt start. And I think we touched on this last episode. Like, when are we going to progress here? Because a lot of people think this kid is a frontline starter, or at least they once did. I've always thought of him as like he's got number 3 upside. But the Yankees see very highly of him. They kept him out of the Juan Soto deal. They included Michael King instead for a reason. So I don't know if that's, it doesn't seem like we haven't seen any progress in terms of him becoming more efficient, getting through that 3rd time through, and giving the Yankees 6+. It's just not been something that Clark Schmidt can do. And so I'm wondering that when Garrett Cole does return, are we certain that it's going to be Luis Hill? I know they're trying to limit his innings, but, Clark Schmidt could. I mean, he started out as a relief pitcher as well, and he was really, really good as a righty-righty platoon guy. But continues to have problems getting deeper into the game. And it used to be the whole, it used to be where left-handed pitchers mashed him. I'm pretty sure he's had a year where he's kind of been a reverse splits guy. So I don't know if that's something you want to keep an eye on to not put him in the bullpen, but he needs to go deeper into games for as long as he is in the rotation. But at the end of the day, again, bend but not break. So he turned it to Ferguson, who struggled a bit in the 6th inning. He was pulled for Weaver, Ferguson's final line, a third of an inning, put 2 base runners on. No runs came across because Weaver came in and escaped. And then he threw a scoreless 7th and then got 2 outs in the 8th inning. So his final line, Luke Weaver, 2 1/3, no runs. He's been good. And then Clay Holmes is called on for the 4-out save. Right, gets it out in the 8th, and then he goes the 9th. 1 1/3 innings, no runs for Clay Holmes. So the Yankee bullpen, again, used heavily on a Clark Schmidt day. They combined for 4 innings, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and the Yankees win 5-3. And then you get to today. The Yankees win 5-2 in 8 innings because of the rain delay. It was the lefty Nestor Cortez against the lefty Skubal. Very good, talented young pitcher who did a nice job on the Yankees. The Yankees got 5 runs in the game. 2 of them came off of Skubal across 6 innings. He started slow. Got hit a bit in the first couple innings there, but after that, he just became untouchable, and he started striking out every Yankee batter he could. He's got really good stuff. He's got a deep pitch mix. He's an impressive young arm. He's got a live arm. Kid's exciting, and Tigers fans should be excited for him. And then the Detroit bullpen, Yankees got to them 3 runs in an inning. But yeah, bottom 1, you get the Judge solo home run. Bottom 2, Glaber, the 2-strike base hit to left. John Birdie, the opposite field base hit to put runners on first and third. Cabrera came up to the plate. He rips a 2-out RBI double the other way. Goes over the stands for a ground rule, so it costed the Yankees an extra run, but made it 2-0. And then bottom 7, after Detroit tied the game up top 7, the Yankees load the bases with 1 out for Juan Soto, and he rips a 3-run double off of Ben Franklin to put the Yankees up 5-2. So he delivers the big blow. Bottom 8, you get the rain delay. Nonsense that had to happen. They waited an hour before they officially called it, but that was it. Game over from there. Judge and Cabrera, 2 hits each. Soto, 3 RBIs. Rizzo got the double day off today, with tomorrow being a day off. We'll talk about Nestor later. The bullpen. Hamilton was bad in the 7th. Nestor leaves the game with 2 runners on base. Hamilton lets both of those inherited runners score with the RBI double, walks a batter, and then allows an RBI force out with Javi Baez. So he goes an inning or a third of an inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 inherited runs, no runs. Gonzalez after him followed. He got the 3rd out of the 7th, and then Santana pitched the entire 8th, no runs, 2 strikeouts. And the Yankees win this game 5-2. Where do we start? Let's start by handing out our first salute. Let's tip our cap to a guy who's not had one yet this year. And we're going to tip our cap to Aaron Judge. Man, did it feel good to finally see that. Aaron Judge this series was 5 for 10, 500 batting average, a 1583 OPS, couple doubles, a home run, 2 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 runs, 10 total bases, and he stole a base. And that was across all 3 games of this series. It was so good to see that. And you're starting to see some signs of life. And on the season, his numbers are slowly creeping back up to respectability. And eventually they'll get to Aaron Judge numbers as long as he's healthy. 220 now with the average. The OPS is 789. Just not long ago, he was batting a $170, and the OPS was in the 6s. So that's a promising sign to see. And all the power numbers are there. 20 RBIs. He's got 26 walks. He's got 7 home runs. I thought it was 8, so I might have a typo there. But regardless, the power is there. You saw him, power the other way in this series. He was going the opposite way. Homers, doubles. He was jumping on fastballs. So those are signs that Aaron Judge is seeing the ball well and hopefully coming around. And if Aaron Judge is coming around, I think the offense is about to get hot. It's a damn breath of fresh air to finally get some life out of Aaron Judge. Because, listen, this lineup, as much as they've struggled, it's not like it's been a bunch of guys being terrible. Nobody else except for Gleyber Torres has been horrendous, right? Judge and Torres have, for the most part of the season, been horrendous, and then everybody else was mediocre at worst, right? So I've always been saying, this is that's all survivable if Judge is hitting. Soto's been amazing. Verdugo's been very good. And then you have your other guys, right? You've got Rizzo, Stanton, Volpe, Oswaldo, Trevino, who've all been okay to better, right? But I think that's standing out. Those guys being so-so is standing out in a more negative manner just because they're relied on a lot more since Judge isn't hitting. Them being so-so is more loud. And I don't think that's fair to them because I think they're performing exactly as you would expect them to. Arguably even better. Trevino's been better than I thought he would be. Stanton's been better than I thought he would be. So, I would like for certain guys, like Rizzo, I would like for him to be a little more consistent. And Giancarlo Stanton, I would like to see him on base more. But it's just good to see the veterans on this team producing. Rizzo and Stanton are two guys I came into the season with no hope for. I had no hope for them turning it around. But they've been your most productive run producers. Is that a stupid wording? They've been your run producers. Those have been your RBI guys. Stanton's been driving in a lot of runs. He's been hitting for power. He's .333 with runners in scoring position. The OPS with runners in scoring position for Stanton, .1123. Gleyber Torres has been a little bit better lately. He's picking up 2 strike base hits. He's going the other way. So I just think Rizzo being okay, Stanton being okay, Volpe and Oswaldo haven't been the same since the start of the season, but on the season overall, they've been okay. It hasn't felt like they've been horrendous. And then Trevino's been good. If Judge is hitting, then them doing what they are doing is just fine because this lineup's going to go back into being a top 5 lineup. It's just going to come back down to the guy who's being paid $360 to start hitting like he's being paid $360. And it's a good sign to see him do that. So there you go. Let's move on to the mound and we'll salute and tip our cap to Nestor Cortez. Thought Nestor was the best starting pitcher of this series. 6 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, a walk, 9 strikeouts, no home runs, 97 pitches, and a no decision. I thought he looked great for a while. He was working quickly, very efficient. Had some good counts where he was going to the high fastball, but mostly it was cutter sweeper. And then he mixed in some good changeups. But I was texting my buddy during this outing, and I'm like, it's so good to have Nestor back. I was so concerned after last year, just with the rotator cuff and the fact that he couldn't go through 4 innings without tiring out and just looking bad. That's completely gone because he's now been a guy who goes deep into games. He's giving you 6 innings. He's pitching into the 7th, sometimes more, constantly. So that's huge to have him back going deep in the games. He's second in the majors in starting pitcher innings. and he's doing it while limiting runs. And I feel like he's been better than the 3.70 whatever ERA shows. I really do. So it's good to see Nestor Cortes back to his self. He was on his way to a very good outing until it was ruined kind of a little bit at the end there. Right, 7th inning comes. Yankees have a 2-0 lead. Enter in the inning. He lets up a couple base hits to Kana and Rogers. Boone pulls him for Ian Hamilton, who hasn't been sharp for a while. Hamilton lets it up. So Nestor's final line, instead of 6 1/3, no runs, 2 runs. Regardless, good to see him pitch well, man. He is just as important to this rotation as anybody else right now. And just wish he could have got that better line, but Hamilton kind of fucked it up. But good for Nestor Cortes. That's now 3 cap tips on the year. Let's go to the bullpen. I'm gonna hand this one to Victor Gonzalez. I'll tip my cap to him. An inning and 2/3 this series. No runs, no strikeouts. 1 walk, no hits. 25 pitches in 2 games. Picked up a win. Yeah, man, he's starting to come around too. A lot of these guys in the bullpen have, like Weaver, Ferguson, Gonzalez, started out the season very shaky, and they're starting to come around a little bit. Gonzalez pitching in some tight situations this series. He got the job done. Even Santana. I thought he pitched very well this series. Gave the Yankees 2 strong innings, but I'm gonna give it to Victor Gonzalez. It's his 2nd of the season. I think we tipped our cap to Victor after the Houston series. It might have been the first series. So good for him. And I really think that's it, guys. Like, I don't know if I have anything else to add. This will be a shorter episode. We'll cut this one in half. I know we've been going well into an hour sometimes, but yeah. Up next, we have, we'll talk about that when we return from break. Stay with us. Be right back.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. All right. So, the Yanks win the series. They sweep the series. Get some life out of Aaron Judge. Now we have the day off tomorrow, which is much needed because they played in 17 consecutive days. Interesting that it's in the middle of a homestand. You thought that day off would have been entering this before this Detroit series. But day off tomorrow, and then Tuesday, they go back out there and they start a 3-game set in the Bronx against the Houston Astros. Tuesday is an interesting one. Luis Gil versus Justin Verlander, who didn't pitch against the Yankees in the first series of the season because he was on the DL. Wednesday, it's Carlos Rodon against some guy I never heard of, Arrighetti. And then Thursday, it'll be Marcus Stroman against Blanco. Don't know if I've heard of him. I'm still trying to. I'm not watching their games a lot. I've not been following them a ton. But I'm still very hesitant to say that Houston's a bad baseball team this year. I know they are not winning games consistently, and let me check where they are right now. Yeah, they jumped to fourth place. Kind of, they're tied with the Angels, but they're 12 and 22. They just lost 2 straight. They're still only 5-5 in their last 10, so they haven't found any consistency yet. It is getting deep into the season. I don't know. I'm still they could easily. Baseball's long. Regardless, I would like the Yankees to do the same thing this time. That'd be nice. They already won the season series, so that's a positive. I believe, they don't have to travel back to Houston. This is it, I think. It's so. This is, I just beat the Astros. It'll be a fun series. There's always going to be the animosity. But yeah, here we are. We are 1 month into the season, a month and change, right? The Yankees are 23-13. They're all year long. They've been either first or on the verge of first. Baltimore's in the middle of a game, so we'll see what happens there with Cincinnati. And to do this with no Garrett Cole, the best pitcher in baseball, and Aaron Judge slumping all year, the best hitter in baseball, arguably, pretty impressive that they're stacking wins with that. The pitching has been elite for the Yankees. I'm still questioning how sustainable it is, especially the bullpen. I don't know if all these names are going to be here in the second half of the season. But, because we got a lot of guys returning, and a lot of these guys are no names on dumpable contracts. But the rotation, I've always felt, had the ceiling. That's been something I've been hammering entering the year. It's been a low floor, high ceiling rotation. Right now they're performing to their ceiling without Garrett Cole. So pitching's been fantastic. It's been second in ERA. I think the bullpen's first in ERA. The rotation's top 7, I think. Maybe it's 6th. And then the bats have been off and on, but hopefully this was a series where 10 runs in the final 2 games. It's not, 30 runs, but it's life. And with Aaron Judge coming around, hopefully that's the case. Then maybe this lineup's about to go on one and produce some good offense for us. Yeah, it's been a good start, winning all but 3 series, I think, right? 2 losses and 1 split. So if I were to grade the Yankees a month in, I'm going to say B+. I think it's been a solid year. Not an amazing year, but it's been a solid year so far. I'm in a good mood. So B+, it's been good. Some cracks, of course, but I'm on Twitter, and I don't know how, but a lot of miserable, downer Yankees fans follow me. Some of them are old men, so I get it, but the shit I get in my replies sometimes, I got some guy on Instagram let me see if I can pull up the comment. And I'm not gonna call the guy out, but relax is what I'm saying. There's a guy. They have no chance this year. They only have a chance if Cole comes in and throws game 1, game 4, game 7, blah, blah, blah. At the end of it, I just want to get to that. He says, this is an abysmal team, not eh. Because I replied and I said eh. And he said, this is an abysmal team, not eh. I don't like they're not an abysmal baseball team. Like abysmal? I don't know. Like this is where Yankees fans get made fun of for being spoiled. Like abysmal is go look at the fucking Miami Marlins. They just had to trade a 400 hitter because they're abysmal. Like the Yankees aren't abysmal. The Yankees are 23-13 without Garrett Cole. Some would say that's pretty good. Now, if you're asking me, about their chances, like playoff odds, what are the odds they make a deep playoff? I understand anybody's concern there, but I'm gonna let the season ride out. I'm gonna give the Yankees a chance, because I like this team more than I have. Definitely more than last year's team. And I want to see what we can do with the hopefully healthy Judge and Juan Soto. And if we can get Dominguez up here in the second half and Garrett Cole healthy. So that's a completely different look. Year 2 Volpe, Austin Wells on the mix. Like these are new faces. This is not Billy McKinney. This is not IKF. This is not Franchi Cordero, etc. I'm going to give them a shot. I don't know that they have this great World Series team, but I think the ceiling's there. I also think the floor is there for them to completely fold. So I'm just waiting it out. I don't think they're an abysmal baseball team. I give them a B+ so far. That's it. We're going to wrap it up. Be right back.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap this up with our trivia question. Okay, in this episode, our trivia question of the day. Who was the only Yankees player to record a 5-hit game against the Red Sox from 2000 to 2007? Who was the only Yankees player to record a 5-hit game against the Red Sox from 2000 to 2007? Let me know the answer wherever you can reach me, folks. That's it. I'm going to go wrap this up. I'm going to go put this out, drop this episode, and I'm going to probably watch some TV for the night. Maybe I'll watch Sunday Night Baseball if I can catch Sunday Night Baseball. And then go to bed. And I'm watching this new show. It's called Sugar with Colin Ferrill. Really interesting, man. I'm dumb as bricks, so it's hard for me to keep up with some of it because I'm really, really dumb. It's like a really simple show if you're somebody with half a brain, but I don't have that. So it's a good show though. Like I'm reading like blogs and recaps about it, so I have a better understanding of what I'm missing. But it's really interesting. It's kind of like a modern day Dexter, sort of. It's really interesting. It's got, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. It's probably my favorite show. It's got a couple characters from Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul as well. But it's really interesting because it's like, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but if you're planning on watching it and haven't yet, spoiler alert. But like, I'm trying to figure out if he's a vampire, if he's I don't know, an alien, or if he's AI, because they've been dropping really obvious and also some subtle hints throughout the show that make you think that. And I am getting like, I know there's a twist. Like it's not what we're seeing on the surface. So I'm really intrigued. I think it's like 6 or so episodes in. I'm 4 episodes in already. So I just started a couple days ago and I've been watching one a night. So I'm going to watch episode 5 tonight. It's on Apple TV Plus. Again, I think there's 6 episodes in. So it's very new and it's still ongoing. So Sugar. It's called Sugar with Colin Ferrill. So it's really interesting. Anyways, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Episode 678 is in the books. ended up going 45 minutes. So there's that. Appreciate you all. I'll see you in 679, where most likely we'll be doing Knicks Pacers game 1. Fuck Indiana. Go Knicks. Go Yankees, though. Go Yankees. We have the Houston Astros up next, so let's beat them into the ground. And let's end their season. Let's just make no doubt that we've ended that little reign. All right, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you then. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.